What's going on YouTube? It's JSauce back again with another video, and today we have ourselves FBL Week 5 versus Ordinary, and now we're coming off a pretty epic win last week versus Smaster, and really hoping that we can continue the win streak this week, and that's something that I would like because I'm pretty proud of how we're doing in FBL. Pretty proud of how we're playing with Sun because going in, Sun is not something that I thought I would be doing very well with. So being able to perform with it is exciting. With that being said, I'll go ahead and I'll see you guys in the team builder. Alright, so I wanted to have a little bit of fun this week, and this just looked like a Magneton game. We're just rocking double stab this week. I mean, his ground type is Great Tusk, which of course can Terra and has Piss Poor special defense. So with an analytic boost, if it's coming in on like a flash can, um, it doesn't want to take it, even if it's AV, if it's drop into a steel beam. The only real problem I can consistently see is that Bronzong, I feel like everything else plays pretty well, especially if I just get the 50-50s right. Then Magneton's gonna put in an amazing game now. With this spread, we are allowed to be modest and still outspeed Tornadus, outspeeding a Screamtail, and we left some leeway in there too. So you'd have to be pretty much max speed to outspeed, and I just don't envision that happening. Now, we also outspeed the Ogre Pawn and some other stuff. Like, this should be the fastest thing on the field, I would imagine, other than, like, maybe a Scarf Curum. That's about the only thing. Speaking of Curum, I want to have a little bit of something to deal with it. So we got our Screamtail, which outspeeds max speed Curum and is able to Thunder Wave it. Now, what I noticed about this team is that he's got, of course, a regen core of Slowking and Tornadus. It's going to be extremely annoying for me, as well as his Psychic immunity is Skuntank, who doesn't want to come this week, I don't think, so Psychic Noise is going to be pretty free, and then with Rocky Helmet, I'm able to pretty much handle the Great Tusk unless it's like Terra Steel Heavy Slam. It's about the only situation that I can't beat the Great Tusk 1v1. It is extremely passive, but it's also very tough for him to take down. The goal for my Screamtail this week was to handle the Great Tusk as well as to spread para on all of the fast mons like Torn, like Kyurem, like Ogerpon, to be able to just help my Gouging Fire win late game, which you'll see eventually. It's also super good just because there's gonna be some terms that he doesn't move, which could completely bail me out in the long game. So it's a bit evil, but we take those. Next up, we have a better Pyromancer. It's one of those mons you can never be too sure on checking, just because the coverage and the variety of sets it has is fantastic. So we're just running pretty much max Spadef this week with a Yachi Berry, Volt Switch, Thunder Wave, Hydro Pump, Pain Split. Um, Kyurem can pretty much come in on this thing every single time, which is why we have Pain Split, which is why we have Thunder Wave. As soon as Tusk is dead or Terra's, Volt Switch is probably the freeze click in the matchup for Magneton for Rotom, so that's going to be super good. We have enough speed to outspeed like a speed creeping Great Tusk, in case it's just like 12 EDs or something like that. And this thing is just going to be here to be a fat pivot. I needed fat pivots, preferably in Screamtail and Rotom, for my more offensive Pokemon like Mag, like Gouging Fire, like um, Slitherwing this week, and even Brambleghast to an extent. being able to have Pokemons that switch in and then switch out is just great positioning. And, you know, this thing's just gonna spread a little bit of yellow magic all over the place. It hits his team extremely well. Ogerpon does not want to come in on Hydro Pump. Like, the only Pokemon that resists both stabs on his team is that Kyurem, who doesn't like really want to come in, especially after I reveal Thunder Wave. I'm actually really liking Rotom, even though people say it's a fraud in Gen 9. This Pokemon is one of the GOATs for a reason. It's just been phenomenal ever since it came out. God, what? That's been like a little under 15 years it's been good. Not much more I can say about it. But the Pokemon that my precious Screamtail, my precious Rotom are going to be setting up, it's Lapuki Bear, it's Legouging Fire. We're just rocking Choice Band this week with enough speed to outspeed Jolly Great Tusk. We're just running Choice Band with 2 fire moves, Crunch for that Slowking, and Dragon Claw for a middle ground. Halks with Flare Blitz and Heat Crash against this team are absolutely diabolical. Crunch hits Chandelure, it hits Slowking, which are the 2 Pokemon that realistically are the switch-ins to Gouging Fire. Of course, Great Tusk can be, especially with Terra, but it's mainly going to be Slowking who perishes to a Crunch. Dragon Claw is a good middle ground, but it's a little scary into Sylveon, into Bronzong if he does figure out I'm banned. And of course, I'm outsped by Kyurem, I'm outsped by Ogerpon, and by Torn. So it's a very high risk Pokemon. I would have to set it up pretty nice, and that's why I have my bat pivots with Thunder Wave, is so I could just have a late game with this Pokemon. I could just click, like Flare Blitz 4 times in a row or something, and just pick off kills with it. Um, I've brought in pretty different Gouging Fire sets each of the 4 weeks I've brought it. And I'm just having lots of fun using this Pokemon and figuring out which set is best in the matchup. It's a Pokemon I really recommend. It's not stuffing the stat sheet yet, but it's making its pressure known and it's bringable to about every game. Highly recommend using this thing. Next up, we have another potential win con this week, but this one's set up. It is Moringa Berry, Terra Fairy, Slitherwing. Now, if you don't know what the hell a Moringa Berry is, I don't blame you. Um, So when you get hit by a special attack, it raises your special defense by 1 stage. It's the opposite of a Key Berry, if you're familiar with that, and I really like the Key Berry. We're running Bulk Up, Leech Life, Terra Blast, Morning Sun. Now, the reason got the Moringa Berries, the idea is that I Bulk Up once, or Morning Sun, on a special attack, get my special defense up by 1, I can just click Bulk Up and Leech Life to my heart's content. Because with Terra Blast Fairy and Leech Life, he doesn't really have a great switch in. His 2 fairy resists, Bronzong and Skuntank, are both neutral to Leech Life, and neither one of them can do like a ton of damage. Realistically, the thing I'm scared for more is most is like Sludge Bomb Torn, but it would have to be specs to do any notable damage to me. So outside that set, it gets really shiced for Slitherwing this week. I'm hoping it can reclaim its top spot on the kill leaderboard. But if it doesn't, it's doing a very, very good job. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I do believe this is enough speed to outspeed a bulky Great Tusk if it's like 8 speed EVs or something like that. Just to ensure that it can't click Heavy Slam or some goofy shit versus me, and I can just knock it out with a Terra Blast Fairy. Finally, for a little bit of a torn answer, which really isn't a torn answer, we have Colberberry, Wind Rider, Bramblegast, hoping to get that juicy +1 attack off a Heat Wave or off a Bleak Wind Storm / Hurricane from Torn, when realistically it's going to be a Sludge Bomb or a U-turn. But hey, a man can hope. I know the first time I played Torn versus Bramble, I was the Torn user and I did not know what the hell Wind Rider was. And then Bramble did immeasurable damage to my team. I'm hoping to do the same versus Ordinary, and I doubt that happens, but you never know. But it just looks good here. I could have went AV with Rapid Spin. It would have been fine. Um, Because at the end of the day, not only is this a pipe dream for Torn, it's one of the better Pokemon into Great Tusk. Now, of course, if it's Ice Spinner, that gets extremely, extremely scary. Um, and I probably can't live it, if it's offensive at least. But we're just rocking enough speed to outspeed that Great Tusk, so I can always be faster than it. We just ran max attack, so I can spam Poltergeist and Power Whip, and then in some cases, especially for Ogerpon and like potential Scarf Chandler, I won't be able to hit Shadow Sneak and maybe pick off a Pokemon that my opponent does not realize. And then Strength Sap's again one of the best moves in the game. There's not really much you can do for it, and it'll keep this Bramblegast healthy and able to keep switching into the Torn. Um, I really like the team this week. I think it's on one of the more creative teams I've built, but I mean, this team that Ordinary has, I believe it ranked number 2 in power rankings. Like, it's a scary team. It's, of course, Terra Torn, Terra Great Tusk are probably the scariest 2 Terra captains we'll have to face in the league. And, I mean, yeah, the team's scary, and it's piloted by someone that I know is good. Like, Ordinary is a great battler in the finals of another league that we shared, where I fizzled out in the semis. So this is going to be a fun one, and this played at like 2 a.m. So not really sure how I'm going to explain some of the moves I made, but it's going to be a fun one to watch. I highly recommend grabbing your popcorn, grabbing your drink, and let's head into the battle. All right. Here we have week 5 of FBL, the battle this week, and Ordinary brought the 6 months that I was probably gonna predict. I'm surprised no Bronzong, Shandy, or Skuntank. I did think at least one of the three was gonna come. I was a little skeptical on like Sylveon, but it makes sense into Sun, into my double Dragon Spam. This Tornadus is Terra Fly, and Great Tusk is Terra Water, meaning that Torn's probably going to be more offensive, while Tusk is a little bit defensive. Now, I was a little skeptical when I saw that because I personally would have been like Terra Water or Terra Fairy. Tornadus, I forget which one I actually decided on being the best, and that should come. Um, so seeing Terra fly is a little bit bad, especially for Bramblegast. Means that I have to scout for Terra Blast Fly, and if it is TB Fly, well then Bramblegast no longer becomes a decent switch in into Torn. Um, Outside of that, Sylveon makes sense. Just everything makes a lot of sense. And I didn't even touch on it in the team builder, but Slowking gets chilly reception, which changes the weather, which is why I'm not bringing Sun. It just felt way too tedious and felt like the opportunity cost was too much. In my head, the leads are like Torn or Great Tusk, so one is Terra Pokemon. The Pokemon that does fine against that, but it's probably the best middle ground, is actually Bramblegast, and I don't want to let Rocks up because I have no remover this week, because Bramblegast isn't Rapid Spin. So if he is Rocks on like Great Tusk, I don't want them going up. Ogerpon is also a fine lead, but I don't really see it coming out early, as he does just lead the Great Tusk. Of course, it's Terra Water. So, Power Whip looks free. Even a Poltergeist to learn an item about something looks free. But I'm running the calc. My Power Whip, if it's defensive, hell, even if it's just max HP, no defense, is doing like 65% minimum. And that's if I hit, right? And I'm looking, his Ice Spinner, even if it's not offensive, pretty much kills me. And if it is any bit of offensive, it does kill me. So I'm not trying to risk that. My best mid-ground play is to actually Strength Sap and see what happens. If he switches, that's no big deal. It's just okay positioning for him. He doesn't learn anything about my set. Whereas if he does attack me, then I live and I can just Strength Sap the next turn. And he learns a little bit about my set, but it's whatever. It's just the really good middle ground play. It's safe, and I don't mind playing safe this early into what presumably will be a long match because he's got double regen Pokemon. So yeah, it goes into Kyurem. If I clicked Poltergeist, I would have been so well off, but I click Strength Sap, my play, Rotom Wash, because even if it is a freeze dry there, it's whatever. I have the Yachi Berry, reveals to be Screen, or at least Reflect, so that sucks. And then I go on to miss a Thunder Wave, which is very bad because now he can go into like um, Great Tusk to dodge it, or get it on Pokemon that doesn't mind their speed as he goes into Slowking. That's probably a good play, because if I was any good at the game, I would have considered clicking Hydro Pump to catch that Great Tusk, but he could have also just got the chip on Rotom, and I wanted to paralyze the Kyurem. Uh, I mean, Volt Switch is doing 29, that's that's pitiful, but it allows Brambogas to come in for free. As Slowking Chili's on out, and Torn comes on in. Now, the way Torn came in on this, I felt like it had to be Terra Blast flying. I felt like if it was anything else, like if it was Hurricane, it wouldn't have came in right now. So I go into Rotom Wash, see what he wants to do. Reveals Terra Blast Fly, reveals Choice Specs. So that makes my Slitherwing worse, that makes my Bramblegast worse, and Torn actually becomes kind of a problem here. Now, I go ahead and click Pain Split here because it's my best play. If something like Great Tusk comes on out, I get back up near full. If Slowking comes on out, it's the same thing. And if Torn stays in, I get up near full and can Volt Switch the next turn. Like, there's literally no downside to clicking Pain Split here, barring like a crit. But just go Slowking. I go all the way up 46%, so we absolutely take those. Good Great Tusk there on my Volt Switch. Now he is Terra Water, but obviously he burnt his Terra. So I take the bait, I click Hydro Pump, because I want to stall out these Reflect turns, just in case. Um, I just Volt Switch Allen out into my Slitherwing, which is a little scary, right? This play was a little scary, because if he Scalded, or clicked a Psychic move, then I was kind of toast. But I was willing to bet that doesn't happen. So I decide to just take my free setup here. Torn comes on in. Of course, I know it is Choice Specs. Now, why did I Terra there? I didn't want to deal with a Psychic or something there, even though it was never coming out, and Slowking is super crucial to the late game. That's a misplay on my part, but Sludge Bomb does 54, miss out on the poison, as I just Morning Sun back up. So I'm +1 special defense now. Ice Click Terra Blast does a good amount. My play is to Morning Sun again. As you know, I could have killed this. I was trying to bait for a switch there. Don't get it, but Sylveon comes in the next turn, catches a Terra Blast, does 63. If this is Protect, it gets a little scary. So I just Morning Sun in case Protect did come out. Um, but doesn't. Hyper Voice does nothing. And Slitherwing is able to pick up the kill. Horn cannot kill from this range, so he is forced to go Ogerpon. It gets a Sword Stance, that's fine, dandy. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Um, Leech Life, I just get back to full. I just sack at this point to Ivy Cudgel because my Bramblegast has Shadow Sneak. And that was a good scout there, to be honest. It takes a little bit. I mean, chip is chip, right? U-turn is a very good play. Loses nothing out of that, as Ogerpon can come back in. And this was a scary play, honestly, because Ivy Cudgel, especially if it's a crit, sends me to the moon. If it's a crit, I die. I believe I just barely live a regular Ivy Cudgel. But yeah, Torn comes on in off a very good U-turn there. Sword Stance U-turn's a little but I finally bring in my Magneton, and I'm just able to click whatever move I want, trying to think what Pokemon comes in on this. My bet was the Great Tusk, so I just click Flash Can. I can calc this is 1000% max def, which is annoying, um, but it makes Gouge's life just a little bit easier. Kyurem comes on in. What do? I Thunder Wave it again, like I tried to earlier, but it doesn't work. Yes, Kyurem is just dodging everything, man. I throw off a Wish into my Bramblegast because as of now, he's shown that he can't really touch Bramblegast, so keeping it healthy would be nice. I predict a U-turn there, which is ballsy, but I expected him to expect Magneton to come on in because it kind of walls the moves we've seen so far. It didn't have to be a Heat Wave last, even that's a 50-50 into this. Like, Pyram comes on in, I click Poltergeist. I'm expecting to get big damage on something. Like, nothing really wants to take this. Tusk doesn't want to take it into Power Whip. Pyram probably takes a good amount into it, and I guess see what the item is. That's presumably heavy duty boots. And I just missed Poltergeist, and I don't even get to see what item it was. This Kyurem is like the dude from the Matrix that just leans back and dodges the bullets. It does not want to get hit by anything. That's really bad for me, because even though the hail is up, he had a defense boost. I'm still on my back foot. I made a good prediction there, and I'm still on my back foot. So Mag comes on in on a freeze stride. Does a lot, actually, like a lot. And of course, I don't know all Thor's moves, so I scout for Earth Power into Rotom Wash as he is Earth Power. Very good job on me. I realized that Magneton's probably my win con at this point. I just go Scream Tail into Magneton. I didn't feel a need to fire off a Wish at this point, and Magneton was kind of my win con. I wanted to pressure a big hit here. As he reveals Thunder Wave, which, of course, my Magneton resists, and Thunderbolt is only doing 56%. That's really bad for me. Now he goes into the Great Tusk, gets up rocks finally, 35 turns into the game. That's pretty bad for me. I placed a Psychic Noise, and it says Heal Block, so I'm hoping it blocks Regenerator, but from what I've seen, it actually doesn't. We can test it here. It's at 72%, as Torn just comes on in, finally. I go Magneton, as a good U-turn comes on out. Goes into Kyurem. I place the switch in Magneton, get the Wish all the way back up to full, and then Steel Beam, get myself back to 50, reveal that I'm Scarf, but I kill Kyurem, who's becoming a very real problem to my team, and that felt like a very good trade-off, especially since I have Screamtail and Magneton just switching in over and over for each other, and I felt like I could get that to happen again. So I'm ready to reveal Scarf and click Steel Beam and hopefully end this man's whole career. Hail's gone as well, but it makes a very good prediction, or a safe middle ground play, and goes to Slowking. That's something that I risked making the play, not an option that I considered in the back of my head. And so Magneton's back to 50 is very bad for me, and now he probably can infer that I'm Scarf. The Slowking refuses to get paralyzed. I just go into my Scream Tail. I protect to Scout what he wants to go into. I Sludge Bomb. Expecting a switch here, actually. I just throw off a Wish. Um, so that's a weird stand, I'm not gonna lie. But I protect now. I feel comfortable trying to paralyze this. Um, but he just switches in Slowking, who's already paralyzed. So that was interesting to me because my play always felt like it should go Magneton, but I guess knowing that I'm probably Scarf, you have that 50-50 to play, and this thing can just come in and click Chill Your Reception, so I don't hate the play. Also, I'm pretty sure Psychic Noise does not stop Regenerator, which is sad. It's actually very bad for me, because I was under the impression that I am. Reveal Scald, gets the burn. That's something that I was fearing for whenever I had my Slitherwing alive. It's getting about 50 turns in, and there's only been 2 Pokemon dead. So this is looking like it's going to be a long battle, and given that it's 2 o'clock in the morning at this point, I'm getting tired, man. I don't know how I'm locking in. But yeah, I can just go into Magneton here, because I figured the play wasn't Sludge Bomb, but I didn't want to risk it. Slowking comes on in, but did you see that? I'm going to make you watch that again. So I go into Magneton, take a U-turn, because I can live whatever hit he has, unless it's Heat Wave and he's not clicked it yet, after firing off a Wish. So Magneton is at 33%, and because of its low HP, Screamtail's Wish does 67%. It gets me back up to full phenomenal. I can Volt Switch out pretty freely. Brambleghast comes on in on Chill Your Reception, which makes sense. Corn comes on in. Bramble just gets to switch out. This Magneton is becoming the best Torn counter in the game. I'm really glad I could get it and surprise someone with it. as the biggest turn in the game just happened, and I was too busy not watching telling stories. But I'm gonna rewind that for you folks. This Magneton comes on in, um, Terra Blast from Torn. It was a pretty good play, and I'm thinking. I've clicked Electric Move the last few times. That Slowking's gonna get tired of coming on in. I mean, it still has 9 chili receptions, but still. So I'm gonna click Flash Cannon. I get the analytic boost here, and Flash Cannon gets a critical hit on the Great Tusk, and all of a sudden, Great Tusk is gone. Volt Switch is literally free for the rest of the matchup. And that's on turn 51, the biggest play of the game happens. That was a huge crit, so obviously Slowking comes in, and I can just send in my Scream Tail. As a good Torn T switch-in comes in, I believe I should just protect the Scout? Yeah, protect the Scout makes sense. I live in Ivy Cudgel, so my play here is to always kill this Ogerpon because it's annoying, so I just Psychic Noise. And you know what? Switched out into Torn, that's whatever. Um, Magneton's at 61, so I can go ahead and switch in Mag without the worry of being Duke KO, unless it's Terra Blast, then that's a little sketchy. But I can work out something. Hits a Sludge Wave, it's perfect for me. I can just Volt Switch on out. Again, there's no real repercussions. Gouging Fire comes on in. This was a little weird. I wanted to bait Scarf, and in my mind, this doesn't bait Scarf, but it baits Slowking in. If Slowking is dead, then my Magneton literally just wins. Like this should bait in something, and if it's Scarf, it's super problematic for him. But I'm banded. Based off the damage it was taking, I just felt like it wasn't max speed, even though it should outspeed my Gouging Fire. I just had a feeling, and Gouging Fire was the most expendable Pokemon on the team, in my opinion. It's weak to rocks. It just didn't really serve much purpose because I wasn't Scarf, so I couldn't outspeed Ogerpon or Torn or even this Kyurem in theory. And with Earth Power, I was doing the calcs. I believe I do also just live Earth Power if it's not like modest. And if it's modest, then I outspeed. So I decided to just get my kill here with Dragon Claw, and I do actually outspeed, which is absolutely massive. Maybe he's thinking I'm Scarf, but goes into a Slowking. Me personally, I would just want Ogerpon and claim to kill on something, because I don't think Magaton can really take 2 Ivy Cudgels or a +1. Uh, so that's what I would have done, but to each their own. I mean, I just Dragon Claw for chip, 62 damage is a lot. Clicks Thunder Wave, hits it, of course, because that's my luck. And at this point, I know it probably wants to switch out. I Dragon Claw again, seeing if he wants to sack the damn Overpawn. So that sounds like a play to me. Or if it sacks this and then goes Overpawn, I just want to kill this. My plays always stay in Dragon Claw. Best case scenarios comes on out. Overpawn switches in. I get to kill this, right? Right? Wrong. This Slowking's been paralyzed for literally fucking ever. I think has gotten full parried once. Meanwhile, my Gouging Fire has been parried for 1 turn and gotten full parried once. Now, Gouging Fire's done its job. He knows that I'm banded. I can't outspeed either 2 of these, so I'm just gonna let Gouge go down. If he wants to U-turn, then that's fine. But Ivy Cudgel comes on out. Magneton comes on in because he knows I'm Scarf at this point. I just want to Volt Switch or T-Bolt. I end up clicking T-Bolt because I didn't want Torn to come in and live. But Slowking comes on out. I go Run Wash just in case. Yeah. So Scald is here. Gets the burn. It just wasn't my day. My play is to always Volt Switch here. And I just hope he doesn't Scald and burn my incoming Bramblegast. And if that doesn't happen, or if he doesn't have like Ice Beam or something last, um, then my Bramble should be able to come in and threaten something out. So I Volt Switch, get my chip. He can always get full parried too, as Brambleghast comes in on 50. Just uses Chilly Reception, which makes sense. Tornadoes comes in. My play, because Floking is so annoying, I decide to save Brambleghast and sack my Road Wash. That doesn't really do anything at this point. Doesn't do enough damage to either one of these. because Magneton can come on out and it can click Thunderbolt twice and hopefully do enough damage. Now, it does kill the Tornadus. It's probably not a wise play. I decide that if there is a Pokegod, if there's Arceus watching down on me right now, this Slowking is going to get full parried, and my Magneton can get 2 kills. And so I just go for it because I'm a greedy bastard. I want this Magneton to get 4 kills this game. I Thunderbolt, and of course, what do you know? Scald kills me. It's whatever, I guess, because Brambleghast's just going to get the last kill. Now, if this is no item, I don't want Poltergeist to not work. I don't want Power Whip to miss. So my play here is to always Shadow Sneak and pray it kills. Because if it doesn't, and those two options are true, then I could still lose the game. And honestly, did not want that to happen. I'm very happy with how I've been playing, and to lose like that would be absolutely devastating. So my play is Shadow Sneak, even though I know that I'm faster. It luckily does kill, and we just had our longest battle of the season, 67 turns, 45-minute battle, and at 2 o'clock at night. So this was definitely one of the games of all time. Super annoying. I'm really mad that Psychic Noise doesn't work on Regenerator. I would like Game Freak to fix that. Or if it's a Showdown thing, I would like Showdown to fix that. But it's likely not going to happen. Um, after that win, we are now 4-1 with the number 4 seed in the league. And next week we play Coach Keji, the guy that brought me into FBL. He's currently the 7th seed, so this is going to have serious playoff implications. And our boy Slitherwing is sitting up there, tied for second with the kill leaderboard. Unfortunately, the Terapagos did pass us, but Slitherwing still got to kill this game, meaning that wasn't completely stagnant. The last 3 weeks have not been great for it, but the first 2 weeks kind of carried. One last thing before I go, I just want to thank every single one of you guys for the support on all the videos. The last 2 videos did fucking amazing. Like, probably number 1 and number 3 in my channel's existence. Like, just, I'm really grateful for you guys and the FBL community for being so wonderful most of the time. And thank you guys for accepting me, and thank every single one of you for watching. These videos have been a blast to make, and I hope you stick around for some of my other videos after FBL ends. With that being said, JSauce out.